Welcome to Talkin Waukesha, the podcast where every conversation springs to life.
I'm Andrew Nofke.
And I'm Anthony Terrell.
And we're your hosts for today's journey into the heart of Waukesha.
Whether you're a local or just passing through, join us as we explore the stories, people, and hidden gems that make Waukesha truly special.
From community events to personal anecdotes, we're here to bring you the pulse of our vibrant town.
So grab your favorite beverage, sit back, and let's dive into another episode of Talkin Waukesha,
where every conversation springs to life. All right, welcome back to another episode of Talkin Waukesha. We're joined by now Mayor, previously Alderperson, Alicia Halvensleben. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So it's, you've been just under a month or just about a month? Yeah, just under a month at this point.
Just over 2 weeks, actually. Yeah.
So nowhere near a month.
Feels like a little longer.
Yeah, I would imagine so. So how did this all start? Was there a specific moment that you're like, I want to run for mayor? I really want to do this. Like, how did you go from being, alderperson to mayor?
Sure. In my time serving as an alderperson, I really enjoyed serving my community. Mm-hmm. So it was always kind of in the back of my mind, maybe someday. And then as I saw all of the great things that our previous mayor, Sean Riley, had done, mm-hmm. I wanted to make sure that we had someone that would continue on that legacy. And I knew that I wanted to serve my community in that way. So I thought maybe this is the right time. So I decided to throw my hat in the ring, and now I'm able to serve my community in this way, and I'm really excited.
Did you enjoy the process of going through the process to become mayor, or was it a little daunting, or a little of both?
I mean, while I was running for mayor, I was also working a full-time job and serving as an alderperson, mm-hmm. so it was a lot.
Just 2.5 jobs during a regular time frame.
No big deal. But I will say that I did really enjoy talking to all of my neighbors mm-hmm. and potential constituents about what their priorities are for Waukesha, so that I would know that when I was in the mayor's office, that I would be able to best serve them.
Were a lot of those priorities pretty on par with a lot of things that we hear about, within the city?
Yeah, I think so. A lot of people right now are facing the same challenges here in the city of Waukesha, but also across the country. Rising mm-hmm. costs, concerns about where their children are going to go, whether it's a specific school or childcare costs. Mm-hmm. We're all facing these same challenges, which is why I want to make sure that we are doing everything that we can to reduce those burdens on our residents.
Yeah.
So how does it feel then to be introducing yourself as mayor instead of an alderperson? Do you still have that trip up every now and then?
It's still a little weird. I'm so used to saying Mayor Riley. So now it's Mayor Halvensleben. So it's a little bit strange. But also in my mind, I'm still just Alicia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know we've talked about even a little bit in our department where we knew you first as Alicia, not mm-hmm. as mayor, and Mayor Sean Riley was Mayor Sean Riley. So even seeing him at the mayor's breakfast yesterday, I was like, Sean, hi, not mayor. Yeah. And I instinctually always want to refer to you as Alicia, but I was like, no, you're mayor now. I have to refer to you as such. So yeah, even our side too, we're seeing not the confusion, but it's a change.
The transition.
It's a transition. It's a different thing. Yeah.
Has being elected mayor changed how you see yourself? I mean, is there a different internal perspective or the introspective of it?
Not really. I still really feel like I'm just me. Mm-hmm. The biggest difference now is that I do get to serve my community in this larger capacity. Mm-hmm. But it's something that, as I mentioned, it was always in the back of my mind that I might want to do that at some point. And so now I'm just excited that I actually get to do it. I really love this community so much, and I want to see us thrive. So mm-hmm. this is my opportunity to do that.
So you don't feel like an extra burden of now I'm the mayor versus alderperson. You kind of are filling that same role just at a wider capacity, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much. My goal was always to make sure that I was looking out for all of our residents. And mm-hmm. obviously, as an alder, I was very focused on District 11. But now I want to make sure that I'm doing that for the whole city.
Yeah. So coming into it, your first day, it didn't really feel like a first day. It's just more, I'm just doing this now full time.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. It was great to walk in, and I kind of knew a lot of the people. I was introduced to some people that maybe I didn't get a chance to interact with as an alder. But yeah, knowing a lot of the names and knowing where some of the offices are definitely made it easier to step into my office on day one.
Yeah.
You say likewise. It was a lot easier for all of us. Like, we know who's coming in. We know kind of what to expect a little bit. So I think a lot of people felt a little more at ease. It's like, okay, we're someone we're familiar with, and it's not, starting with a day one, like let's get everyone onboarded and kind of go from there. You were kind of, hit the ground running.
Yep, absolutely.
So we said you're just about 2 weeks in. Has your perspective of Waukesha started to change at all since becoming mayor?
No, not really. This is such an amazing city, and we have amazing staff such as yourself, and we have great amenities here and services. That was true before I was mayor. It was true while I was an alder, and I want to make sure that it continues to be true as I take on this new role as mayor.
In the first few weeks, have there been any, early takeaways or things that have stood out that people might not realize about the job? People have like their idea of what the mayor does, but is there anything that kind of stood out? I was like, oh, the mayor does this, and I wasn't, expecting that.
Yeah, there have been a lot of signatures, a lot of things that I've had to sign, which is totally fine. But yeah, just my signature goes on a lot of things, and also I have to be very on top of my calendar. There are a lot of meetings, a lot of strategy sessions, and meeting with different departments, but also meeting with a lot of folks throughout the community, community leaders who want to make sure that we understand what their priorities are, how we can work with them as the city, and really being that public face of the city. I knew that going in, but I don't know if everybody realizes, just how much the mayor is often meeting with folks so that we can have a better partnership with all of our different community entities, whether it's service providers or local businesses, Carroll University, et cetera.
So did you say your calendar's pretty packed from, start to finish?
It is pretty packed from start to finish. Thankfully, I'm the kind of person that really likes it that way. My calendar has always looked like that to some degree ever since I was, a student in high school. So I'm loving that. But yeah, if somebody were to look at my calendar, it might be frightening if you're not that kind of a person.
Yeah, well, I always hear the rumors too of like people coming into City Hall and then they're like, I'm going to go speak to the mayor, and they try to come up to the third floor, and it's like, well, you could try, but she's probably not even here.
Right.
She's probably at a meeting. She's probably at another part of the city doing so many things. Like, you could try, but honestly, she's probably not here.
If you want to talk to the mayor, I highly recommend reaching out to and making an appointment. Absolutely. But that said, when I am in my office, I generally keep my door open and people are welcome to drop by. But you're right. There's a good chance I might not be in there.
So now that you're mayor, residents might be curious. Are there local traditions, events, or spaces where you feel the spirit of the city is most strong?
This is such a tough question. But I think if I go through the seasons, there's always something fun to do. Whether that's the jamboree in the middle of winter, and sometimes it's very cold.
Usually it's pretty cold.
It's usually pretty cold, but
if it's above zero, it's hit and miss.
We've got those heaters in the tents and in the buildings, so that helps. In the spring, I love doing the park cleanup, and this year we had the 100 trees for 100 years of parks in the city, which was a lot of fun for me. In the summer, I love all of the outdoor music that we have, whether it's Friday Night Live or Riverside Rhythms, Tribute Tuesday. There are so many options for outdoor music. And, a lot of us in this area, we think we got to go all the way into Milwaukee for Summerfest. And I feel like we have a Summerfest here every week. So I really enjoy that. And then in the fall, I have to do a plug for Waukesha Unlocked this year. It's a great opportunity to see where the city has been and where we're going into the future. You can check out all of the historic landmarks, but also some of our new manufacturing businesses and all of the great things that they're doing.
Yeah, I really love how, we embrace the music, art, and culture, for a lot of the summer events, but like there's still plenty of events of let's take a look back at our, the city's history, see where we've come from, see where we are, see where we're going. And, it really helps you embrace and kind of love the city.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And you coming from District 11 too, you are in the heart of all of that too. So
right there,
like almost right in the backyard.
Yeah. I can just, I can walk down to the river. I can walk across the street to Cutler Park, basically. So yeah, there's so many options. But I love to see that we have options throughout the city. I recently did the cancer walk in Frame Park over the weekend, and that's another great opportunity that stretches out a little bit further out from downtown. Still pretty close, but and then we planted the trees the weekend before that, and that was on the south side of the city. So definitely there are still opportunities throughout the city.
Yeah, lots of city hosted, WDBA hosted, county hosted, and even community hosted events. I mean, you're hard pressed to have an open weekend in Waukesha.
Exactly.
So if someone's visiting the city for the first time and wanted to understand it beyond like headlines and news, what would you say and where would you send them?
Sure. And I might be repeating myself a little bit here, but I do have to do a plug for Waukesha Unlocked. If you have never been to Waukesha, what better opportunity do you have to see literally everything we have to offer?
Yeah.
Whether it's the rich history, from the Springs era on, whether it's seeing our manufacturing facilities that are doing great things and shipping different products across the country and around the world, even
Into space.
Yeah, into space. Or seeing some of our city buildings and our city parks and all of those things that they have to offer. You get a little bit of everything with Waukesha Unlocked. So I would definitely send people there. But also, some of our fun events that we have, you get to learn about that rich art and music culture that we have here. Downtown is really great for that. But you can see that in parks throughout the city. You can see that in the different art that we do have in different places. We've got a lot along Main Street, but we also have all of the really cool Fox statues and guitars that really highlight that great art and music scene that we have here.
Yeah, it's such a wide variety too. It's not just all, one style of art. You're getting, one of my favorite ones is the Girls of Rock one that's on Main Street in Madison.
It's on
South.
Main and Clinton.
I can never remember the north-south road. East-west, I got that one. North-south, so Main and Clinton. That one's, it's very punk rock, very, punchy, but it's such a cool one. And then there's even the one that's over in front of the bank where it's much more abstract, but it's bright and colorful.
Yeah, I love the one on Main Street in Clinton. My bridesmaids and I took a picture with that one
awesome.
For my wedding. I was like, I got to get a picture there. So, and it turned out really well.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, going back to the Waukesha Unlocked, why it's just so great too. There's at least like living in Waukesha basically my whole life, you drive by so many of these businesses and you wonder what's going on in there. What is they make in there? It's been there forever. And now we finally get these opportunities to do that. It's so refreshing. And it's also, you get to scratch that curiosity itch that you have.
Yeah. And the fact that it's like big businesses, small businesses, churches, all that kind of thing. You get a lot of history, especially with the churches too, they're like some of the first buildings that were in Waukesha proper, even in Prairieville, like prior to that. So there's a lot of extra history added into that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what are you starting to focus on in this role, and what priorities are taking shape for you as mayor?
Yeah. So one of the things that I've been doing right off the bat here is working with city staff to determine what their priorities are for each of the different departments and how that's going to fit with the city's strategic plan and budget. As we are all seeing these rising costs and limits that are imposed on us by the state legislature, we are going to be facing challenges down the road. And one of the things that I have said for years, and I've continued to say, is that I want to make sure that Waukesha stays Waukesha, that we have all of these amazing services and amenities that we have offered, but making sure that we balance that budget. So working with city staff who have been amazing to figure out ways that we can do that, but also making sure that I'm doing a good job representing the city so that I can advocate and hopefully get some things done in terms of what our funding looks like, including just last night passing a resolution urging the state legislature and the governor to better fund our roads, basically. And so I was really thankful that the council supported that resolution, and we'll be passing that on to our state legislators.
Yeah, I was really happy to see that, because I know for a long time, I've been with the city for 5 years. It's always, okay, we're struggling because we need a little more from the state, little nudges here and there, and seeing a resolution of like, yeah, this is, the entire city represented by their alder people are saying, we need this to happen. So just, being the 7th or 8th largest city in the state saying, hey, we need help.
Right.
You know, it's nice to see that, you know, that kind of push is being pushed up to the state level and letting them know, like, yeah, we're, you know, everyone's in some hot water right now.
Exactly.
As you're going to these departments and finding out what they need, or I guess more what their needs are, is there anything that's surprised you that you might not have been aware of before being an older person that you kind of get a little bit more insight on now?
I wouldn't say necessarily that I'm surprised, but maybe this is something that we should all kind of keep forefront in our mind, and that is the role that technology will continue to play in terms of making us more efficient.
Yeah.
I would say that at a good portion of the meetings that I've had, we've talked about the future of AI and other technologies that are going to be able to speed up certain processes, make things more efficient. But on the flip side of that, what that initial investment looks like, right? So again, making sure that we are staying forefront in those technologies, knowing that that's something that's coming regardless of how we feel about it, and making sure that we're using that to the best of our ability while also maintaining a balanced budget. So
and that's
definitely something that's going to be difficult, but I think it's something that we can work with city staff and get that done.
Yeah. And I know with our IT department, we're using AI responsibly too. So it's not just like, oh, AI is out here, let's, you know, implement it. It's, you know, is it protecting information? Is it, you know, providing valid information? So
Right.
you know, when people are a little more apprehensive of AI, it's not just, hey, let's just push and use AI. It's responsible use of AI.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things that I've really appreciated about the meetings that I've had with various departments, is looking at, okay, here are the things that AI can do right now. Here are the things AI definitely cannot do yet.
Yeah.
And making sure that we find that balance so that we are, keeping our residents safe here, but while also embracing technology that's going to make us better.
Yep. So what do you anticipate to be one of the most challenging parts of being a mayor?
Well, as I mentioned, my calendar is pretty packed. So being in one place at one time is definitely going to be a challenge. Sometimes I wish I had 2 or 3 of me so that I could be everywhere all at once. You know, I say I love this community. I really do. And so I wish that I could go to everything, but I definitely can't. But I wish I could do it all.
Yeah. The hand cramps from all the signatures.
Yeah. The hand cramps. Yeah. There we go.
Is it getting, you know, is your signature getting fancier or worse? Is it, you know,
Have you simplified it?
I mean, given how long my name is,
Yeah.
Yeah,
my
I can say.
signature has always been pretty messy. So it hasn't gotten worse, but it better not get worse.
So what are some challenges ahead for the city?
Yeah. So, you know, we hear a lot about the budget, but I'm definitely confident after meeting with so many members of city staff over the last couple of weeks that we can work with our city staff, with the city administrator, with myself, with the council to make sure that we're continuing to have a balanced budget. I really appreciate the way that city staff in departments across the city have really looked inward to say, these are the services that we provide. These are why they're important. This is how much it costs to do this. So that we can say, all right, here's something where we can consolidate something. Here's definitely where we cannot. I would say departments across the city have really gotten creative with different options, whether that's working together internally or if that's working with communities around us so that we can consolidate services that way. Everyone's done a really great job with that, and I want to see that continue. But yeah, everyone's doing a really good job with that in a tough situation.
Yeah. So just kind of do a little plug as well. So right now we have an online budgeting tool that residents can, you know, put in their 5 cents or of creating that balanced budget of how they want to adjust it. If you go to the city website on the homepage, there is a link to this Balancing Budget Act, and you can even find it on social media as well. But for residents who want to try and, you know, try their hand at balancing a budget, which is a big challenge when you've got, you know, a couple hundred employees and lots of services, vehicles, fleet, and stuff like that. You know, if you want to try your hand at it, you can give it a shot and put your input into how the budget should be balanced to kind of help us get an idea of how residents expect the budget to work and what their priorities are.
Yeah, absolutely. And we want to hear from residents and know what their priorities are. That's so important because there are things that I might love and I think are a priority, but when we actually hear from our residents, maybe it's not. Or vice versa, something I hadn't identified or the council
Right.
hadn't identified, and everyone is saying this is something that we need. So we do want to hear from our residents. So thank you for bringing that up, because I do encourage folks to go online, fill that out. The more input that we have, the better decisions we can make.
Yeah, so it's a lot easier to make decisions based on a few hundred people's input and rather than, a couple dozen.
Right.
So what gives you the most optimism about the city's future then?
I would say our residents. Waukesha is a great place to grow up, to raise a family, and finally grow old here. We have something to offer people of all ages, of all backgrounds. So I am just so inspired by all of the residents here and what they have to offer. Last night at our council meeting, we heard about residents who are really invested in our historic preservation here when we did our Landmarks Awards presentation. So I'm excited about those people who are preserving our history. I'm excited about all of the local artists and musicians, as we talked about the art and music culture here. But we have so many residents doing so many amazing things across the city, and I'm really encouraged by that.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's just because I'm ingrained in it more or not, but I feel like people in Waukesha are very passionate about Waukesha. Like they good and bad, passionate about it. Like people are like, it's a good place to live, great services, good people, and people, when you read the comments on Facebook, it sometimes comes off angry. It's because people are passionate about the way things run in the city. Like they have a certain expectation, and if it's not being met, they're going to vocalize it. So it's not because they just want to be angry all the time. It's because they care. I mean, it's bizarre in a good way.
Yeah. I mean, we take pride in our community. And I appreciate that. So if a resident sees a problem and wants to point that out, I'm never going to be upset about that. Right. We want to make sure that we can all be proud of this city. So yeah, if you're seeing an issue, maybe don't be super angry, but let us know. We want to hear about it so that we can make things better. If we are seeing, we can't be everywhere all at once. We might have a couple hundred employees, but we can't be everywhere all at once. So our residents are definitely our eyes and our ears out there on the ground. So if you have a concern, reach out to your alderperson, reach out to city staff, let us know so we can make adjustments.
Yeah, we all do our best to try and talk with each other and figure it out as best we can.
Yep,
Yeah,
absolutely.
but even if things are going well, also let us know too.
Yeah.
Don't just let us know the bad stuff. Let us know the good too.
We like the good stuff.
I will say I had a resident reach out to compliment an employee over at Metro Transit, and I made a point to send her an email saying, hey, thank you for doing a good job. So I think people always love to be appreciated. So if you had a great interaction with a city staff member, let me know, because I want to make sure that they're being recognized for that too.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So what is something you are excited to do as mayor?
I want to become best friends with River. Now that I get to interact even more with River, I think that we are going to be besties.
That's awesome.
That's good to know.
So I think we've had a river sighting recently, but I don't think within the last 2 weeks. So
Yeah, the River was at the tree planting.
I did
Yes.
see
Oh,
River
that's
at the
right.
tree planting. Yes. So that was my most recent River sighting. But yeah.
River's been riding the buses, getting a lot of letters and feedback. So
Yeah, I'll have to see what kind of videos we can make with the mayor and River.
Yes. Sounds good.
River's calendar's a little more open.
Yeah.
So what kind of impact do you hope to have over the course of your tenure as mayor?
Sure. I want to see Waukesha grow and thrive. We do face plenty of challenges, but I want to know that we tackle them head on so that our community is even better than when I started. I think that ultimately we're in a really good place right now, but we are facing a lot of challenges as we move ahead. So I want to make sure that we know what those challenges are, that we've identified them before they become an actual problem, that we tackle that and make sure that we continue to be this great community that we already are, and hopefully continue on our upward trend that we've been on for a while.
And that's the nice thing about identifying these challenges early is that we know they may be temporary challenges. They may be a little bit of straining for long term, but the way that our budget works, where we're looking 5 years down the line, we're not in a bad shape. I mean, yes, we're looking at astronomically large numbers in the millions, but in the grand scheme of things, a few million is to try and find isn't hard, which is a really, really bizarre way to think of it.
Well, I'm very encouraged by the process that we're going through right now with all of the different departments and really kind of doing a full inventory of everything that we offer as a city, and not just looking at that from above, but making sure that all of our different departments recognize what the other departments are doing too. Because I think that can go a long way. The people who work in this building or any other city buildings are kind of our first line. They're the ones that are out in the community answering questions. And sometimes it can be hard to know what one department is doing when your department is doing this other thing. So I'm really encouraged by that. And I think that it'll help with looking at our budget in a more holistic way. And again, identifying those things where maybe partnering, consolidation, those types of actions might be helpful for balancing the budget. But you're right. We are facing some challenges that are looking in the millions of dollars range. But I am confident that as we work together with city staff, with the city administrator, with myself and the council, that we can make sure that we can get this done.
Yep. I mean, like you said, with all this collaboration, it's bringing change, and change is never easy, but being able to embrace that change is really, really going to be what benefits us, because it may change this year, it'll change next year. Change will happen, and it may change for the extra good. Like we may feel like, hey, we're now extra efficient in some way, or we may find an outmoded method that can be improved.
Exactly. And I think a really great example of that is our crew program, for instance, right? That initially started as a partnership with the county, and we saw the success. We've expanded the program, and ultimately it doesn't just help people, right? It helps our police department in that they can provide the type of response that the person needs, but it also frees up our police department to focus on actual policing, while clinicians and professionals, mental health professionals, can help those folks who need that type of help. So ultimately, it's a program that works really well, but started as this collaborative effort that was federally funded as well. But yeah, it's something that we can continue on for the better. So we find those opportunities for partnership and collaboration, and ultimately we make our city a better place.
Yeah. And just to note, the crew is the Crisis Response Unit, CRU.
Yes, thank you.
Is there anything else you want to share to the residents, or any message you want to send out to them and about anything, your 2 weeks as being a mayor, your future, anything like that?
Sure. Yeah. I want to hear from residents. I mentioned that my door is open, and you both can vouch for that because you're up on the third floor with me as well. So if I am in my office, my door is open, but you're right. I'm not in there all the time. So feel free to reach out, send an email, make a phone call. If you aren't reaching me directly and you want to talk directly to the city staff member, everyone here in this building and in other city buildings are always so helpful, and they want to help our residents. So if you have questions or you have concerns, please reach out to us. We want to hear from you. And
don't worry, if you're calling outside of hours, leave a message. We'll get back to you. We do our best to. As long as things aren't too crazy, we can usually get back to you in the day.
Yes, absolutely. And we are good about that. So I do appreciate how on top of everything our city staff is.
Yep. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you ever want to come back, feel free. Let us know.
All right. Thank you. And if you want to invite me back, I'm happy to come back.
And that's a wrap for another episode of Talkin Waukesha. We hope you enjoyed diving into the heart of our city with us.
If you have a story to share or just want to say hello, reach out to us on social media at City of Waukesha on Facebook. We love hearing from our listeners.
Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review if you enjoyed the conversation. It really helps us spread the word.
As always, thanks for tuning in to Talkin Waukesha, where every conversation springs to life.